In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farded Muhammad, to whom all praise is due forever. And I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ, last messenger and servant, and divine warner, and Mahdi. And I bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the Messiah in our midst. And it is in their names that I greet you in the greetings of peace, of Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you, or Shalom alaikum. This is Brother Harold from Hark the Herald podcast. Welcome to this podcast episode. Be going through some scriptures and giving my understanding of the scriptures. I'm going to start with the scripture from Revelations 3:20. Here I am, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and sup with that person, or eat with that person, or dine with that person, and they with me. I stand at the door and knock, says Jesus the Christ. What does he mean that he stand at the door and knock? What door? The door of our minds, the door of our hearts. Christ, and it is the desire of Christ, which is means to be, he's Christ being one with God, which means that he also wants us to be one with God. We have to allow God to enter into our hearts and our minds. In order to allow God to enter into the hearts and into our minds, then we got to empty ourselves of the world, such as the things that our passions and our desires, and let God rule inside of our hearts and our minds. God desires to live in and through us, so that when people hear you, they hear God talking through you. And when they see you walk, they see God walking in you and through you. See, in the beginning, God made us in his image and after his likeness, which means he made us to reflect him. Yet, we were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Iniquity meaning wickedness or sin. We've been shaped by our environments and the institutions of this world, and parents and teachers and people whose minds have been influenced by this world. The TV, the music, and all of these external influences that you and I deal with and interact with on a day-to-day basis. We have to fill ourselves with the things of God and the things pertaining to God. See, the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. We can only evolve and reach our highest potentials is through our obedience or our submission to the will of God. We limit ourselves when we don't allow God to live in and through us. We limit ourselves when we turn and limit ourselves to the wisdom of this world and to the minds of those who've written these books or produced the music or produced these television shows and the things that are in the world. When we look at the things of the world, we're looking at things that were produced from the minds of human beings. Human beings whose minds are corrupted. God made us to reflect him. And it is through our submission and our obedience to God that the kingdom of heaven can be established on earth. See? God made the world for righteousness. That God did not create the world for unrighteousness or sin and transgression. If you look at everything that is going on in the world, have we asked ourselves why? Why is there so much corruption in the world? Why is there so much violence and hatred and vitriol in the world? What is the cause of all of this that is going on in the world today? And why? And what does God desire for us and for the world? If Christ says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock," why does he stand at the door and knock? If he stands out the door and he knocks, that means that he's on the outside, desiring to enter on the inside. How do we allow God or Christ to enter into our minds or into our hearts? See, when we invite something in, we have to make space. I mean, we have to make sure that the environment that he's coming in, we have to prepare ourselves for the environment that he's coming into. Or that we have to prepare the environment for him to enter into. We have to open up our hearts and our minds. But sometimes it is our desires, our selfish desires prevents that from taking place. For the most part, we love the things in the world and the things of the world. And it is our unwillingness to let those things go. We don't like righteousness, or we love sin because the things of this world, it is comfortable and it is easier to do wrong than it is to do right. But Christ stands at the door and he knocks. We live in a day and time that we have to make a decision today. This world that you and I live in is falling, whether we realize it or not. But we know, for the most part, even in our ignorance, we don't understand everything that is taking place in the world. We know something is happening. Most people don't know why things are happening as they are. Why is all the storms and all the violence and the dissatisfaction that is going on in the world today? Who is it that is causing all of this to happen? And what can you and I do to curb or change it? We have to seek God in this day and time. We have to turn to God for the answers and the solutions to the problems that are plaguing this world. You and I can't fix it on our own. We can't continue to turn to politicians because politicians are corrupted themselves and seeking selfish gain. We cannot rely on them. So we have to turn to God and let God bring the solution to our problems through us. Allow God to heal us and heal the world that you and I are living in through us. Christ said, once again, "Look, I stand at the door and knock. And if you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends." I'm reading from different translations of this verse, in order to get a clearer understanding of this verse. Christ said he stands at the door and knock. Are we going to let him in? There's a choice that you and I have to make today. Will you let Christ in? And that is this podcast series for today. Thank you for listening. I greet you as I came. Assalamu alaikum.